guys. Podcast number 2, Gins Before Friends. We're back. How's everyone doing this fine evening?
Exhausted, but good.
Exhausted. Morbid Plum, how are you doing?
I'm feeling good. Having a good day.
Awesome. Yay, super glad. We're back to talk about things that we want to see in DBD. We're here with our Swift again. We got Mockingbird, me,
Hello.
Queen AMG, and Morbid Plum, excuse me, was Christine K, but she's rebranding,
Yes,
and
everyone
we're
needs
here
a
for
little
it.
rebrand every once in a while. So,
All right, well, let's get started. We're going to jump right in. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the game aesthetics. So, something that we have talked about is how is DBD still even scary? And how can that scare factor return? Let's pass it over. Mocking. What are your thoughts on that?
DBD is not scary anymore. It used to be scarier with some of the old versions of the maps. Before they did their whole rework, the maps were darker. Like Macmillan was very blue and dark, and it was just harder to see killers. Same with Coldwind. I mean, Coldwind is completely changed because now it's like daytime, right? It's very Texas Chainsaw, but to me, that's not scary. Not for this game. But how can it be scary again? I'm not sure. I know way back before I started playing, they used to have add-ons where you can make the maps darker, like change the time of day, kind of. So I don't know if that could be something they could try again. I think darker is just scarier, and not being able to see the killer coming across the cornfield, a mile away. So I don't know. What do you think, Morbid Plum?
yeah, I kind of have to agree. When we started playing, I think they had just started, or they had let us know that they were going to redo some of the maps and rework them, and so we did get to see that kind of a little bit before and then after. And I do agree that the ones with the cornfield were so bright when we first played them, and it just didn't seem very horror-ish to me as much as it used to. Um, yeah, I like it when I don't see the killer and then they pop out of nowhere because it's still kind of scary and jarring. So yeah, I think that, like you said, I don't know what they would actually do to make that happen. Maybe, I mean, new maps would always be good, but who knows if they would be scary. So yeah.
No,
How about you, Queen?
yeah, I agree. Of course, like I don't mind lighter maps because I'm a wuss. Like, I don't like being scared. I don't know why I'm playing this game. I don't like being scared. I don't get the rush other people do. But I can understand. I was kind of there during the transition when some maps were darker. I was there for the updates to the farms maps as well. Um, I think it'd be interesting maybe to have add-ons to change time of day or actually make it darker, unlike like we do have the dark and mist add-ons, but they're not effective on all maps.
Mm-mm.
I feel
Mm-mm.
like they're kind of obsolete now, really depending on the map, because all you have is like those floating clouds. Um, and they don't really do anything to darken certain maps. You know, like your Mount Ormond or the corn maps or maps inside a building. Um, so maybe something to where you could bring in to actually darken it would make it better. But I agree. If I'm not scared, then there's definitely no scare factor anymore for the maps. So hopefully they can think of something to kind of bring that horror aspect back. Um, but I'm not quite sure what they'd be able to do. Does anyone have any like final thoughts on how to bring that back or anything they can do map wise to
Well,
maybe bring back that horror factor?
I think the scariest killers are your stealth killers, right? Or like we
Confirmed.
just played around where a demo played Tinkerer, right? Like the no terror radius is what can get the jump on the survivors. Like I got jump scared. Like we were on the first gen that got Tinker, and you're like, he's there. And I'm like, what? And so your stealth killers can be scary, I think, and even not just talking about darkness because I had this thought when we were talking about the maps. Like Larry's can be scary. Anything that blocks line of sight, right? Walls. I think my issue with like the corn maps is it's so open, right? Some of the maps are just very open in the middle, and like Blood Lodge, some of the Auto Haven, McMillan maps, like there's open areas. Well, you're gonna be able to see the killer, right? But breaking line of sight would allow at least stealth killers to sneak up on you.
No, I agree. I personally would love more indoor maps.
Yes. Like a castle. A
Yes.
castle. Victoria's should have been a castle.
Trickster, the music hall or auditorium, studio. I personally would love more indoor maps. Because I do think it makes it a little bit harder when you don't have that line of sight, when you have more obstacles in your way. And it also is just it kind of like you're playing a game of who can find who first. And that does help add to the scare factor. How about you, Plum? Do you have any final thoughts on this one?
No, I was gonna add the same, but you beat me to it. Was the Trickster one? Oh God, I wish we'd gotten a map for that. That would have been so cool. I think maybe if they did some more add-ons for like killers, possibly. Like, cause I can't remember if you can still do Scratch Mirror Myers, but that always scares me so much. Like when he just appears out of nowhere, it makes my heart race, and I definitely think they need to do that more often, or like update it to some, yeah.
That would be
Instead of
interesting if every killer had some type of perk that made them undetectable.
Well, there are certain killers have add-ons. Like Huntress has an add-on for undetectable. The Fox Wooden Fox. I think it just depends on the killer. And we'd have to go through like all the add-ons. Some of them have undetectable ones. I don't want to say all of them do. I mean, there's Tinker, but I don't know there's really a fix to make it scary. And I guess the question is, should it be scary? I would my opinion is it should be, because it's like a horror game, right?
It's a horror
people
game.
Don't play it like it's scary, so.
Oh, well, maybe if they brought that back, then you'd have people. I think casual gamers are the ones that like more the scare factor. Less competitive gamers, I think there's a whole different goal in mind, is to always win. But for people who play casually like us, I think we're just kind of in it to hang out with friends and maybe get that little rush of adrenaline, being scared for just a moment in a safe place.
Yeah.
Like seeing a scary movie is that rush. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Good thoughts, guys. So we're going to kind of transition over to talk about game health, player engagement, and just maybe DBD being a little more transparent with things that they're doing. The first thing, Mocking, you actually brought this up, is doing some type of yearly or twice a year community survey.
Yeah, work for us behavior. Work for us community
service.
Yes.
I would like that too.
And I mean, they recently came out with a survey, but like a really long one, trying to, I guess, figure out what they want to do with the game. But my thought is have like 2 separate surveys, like one for killer players, one for survivor. If you play both, you can do both of them. But basically, like, get really in depth, like, for the killers, like, which ones do you main? Why do you main this killer? Like, go through, like, what do you like about this killer? What do you not like about this killer? Why don't you play these killers? And even go through all of the killer add-ons perks, and be like, do you think this one's useful? Not useful? You can have, like, they like to do the 1 through 5 range, right? Like, how useful are these perks? And then you can even ask killers, what do you think about survivor perks, or ask them what are the perks you don't like going against, because it's not dead hard anymore.
It'd still be nerf dead hard.
Yeah.
It is nerfed. You got your wish. And then the same for survivor. Of course, survivors don't have different powers, but all the perks. And then you can ask them what killers do they like going against, don't like going against, which ones they think are too oppressive, things like that. Just get really in depth of like what perks work, what perks don't. What do people want to see out this game? Like, also ask questions about like, are you like casual player? Are you competitive? Like, I think they asked that in the last survey. They had like questions like, do you consider this a win? Do you consider escaping a win? Or, are there other goals that would make you feel like it was a win? Because like head-oning the killer like 5 times would be a win for me. In a match.
Confirmed.
Stuff like that, or like getting a good save, like saving a teammate, would that be considered a win? Like if you saved a teammate but you died, would that be a win? Like stuff like that. So yeah, having a really long, in-depth survey.
No, I can agree with that. I can agree. A win for me is dying on my own terms. The demo match we had, I was the last survivor left, and I just kept getting the terrorists to get my distortion tokens, and they kept trying to find me, and I died, but I won on the inside.
Worth it.
Plum, what do you think about doing some type of yearly survey for players?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Mocking that they need to focus on like past stuff too, not just current, because, obviously, well, I don't know if a lot of people take the survey or not, but it's usually geared around the most recent update, and that's great and everything, but it does affect past updates too. So I feel like it would be a good idea to get feedback of, hey, we released this, but how do you feel about this killer that we released so many years ago, whatever. But I definitely agree. I think that there needs to be something where they get feedback on the entire game and not just the stuff that's updated in the last patch.
No, I agree as well. I think something that's great about community surveys is they can actually figure out what it is we want instead of doing these weird buffs and nerfs that no one really asked for.
Mm,
Um, if they did something in depth and included perks, then they can find out, these are the perks most used. These are the ones people aren't using. And this is why they're not using them. And the same with killers. If they find like, hey, we did this survey and everyone loves going against like Wesker, maybe we need to focus on our next, killer coming out. Kind of not necessarily like mirror. Obviously, we don't want the same character killers, but to figure out what it is that's fun about going against him, or was it's fun that's going against, maybe for a killer certain perks, or it makes it challenging. To really figure out how their player base plays. Because I feel like we're moving into this thing where everything is, some of the perks we've had are very altruistic perks for survivors coming out. And I feel like they think we're playing a certain way when most of us, I feel, are playing very casual. But the only way you're going to know that information is if you ask your community, um, how they're utilizing the game. So I definitely agree that surveys are a big positive and should be done kind of more. Any final thoughts on surveys before we move forward?
no, not for me.
Nah.
Not for you. All right. Something that was brought up was kind of non-chapter updates as well. And Mocking, you mentioned two things when we talked about it, like doing an update with just maps or like new intros.
Okay, yeah. So those are kind of two separate things, but I mean, we just talked about maps with the trickster and the night chapters, like kind of because they went and did all these reworks, right, of the maps, and so we didn't see any new maps forever. I think, I don't even know if I want to say, was it Dead Dog or Erie? You know, like we stopped
Mm-hmm.
getting new maps forever, and I feel like they could just skip a chapter, like skip a killer survivor chapter, and just make some new maps.
Mm-hmm.
Give us some more variety, or even make new maps or new map variations within existing realms. Because lately, every new map is like its own separate realm, where it used to be like there's like 5 Batum maps or several Auto Haven and Macmillan maps, right? Within
Mm-hmm.
those
Mhm.
realms. So I'm kind of surprised they haven't gone back and been like, let's add another variation of maps, like of Ormond, Erie, Dead Dog. Like Dead Dog is one is I think a very loved map by killers and survivors.
Heck
Like,
yeah.
why don't we come out
Mhm.
with a different variation of it? Um, so yeah, more maps. Go back and do the trickster map. Everyone wanted it. Like this is one of those
Yes.
things they needed a survey to tell them we would
Yeah,
like a
right.
trickster map. But that was in the midst, I think, of all the reworks and stuff. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
um missed opportunity. And then the new intros is their standard intro with Trapper and Jake, Dwight and Claude, which it's not a bad intro. And we do get new intros with the new chapters, but like I would like to see like some new intros like mixed in with make some new ones with more different survivors, right? We have like so many survivors and killers now.
Mm-hmm.
Like just some short intros and you could rotate them out just to add some variety than the same old Trapper intro. Those are my thoughts. Morbid?
Yeah, I agree about the intro. Because once the game starts, it's kind of gets old seeing the same thing, but I usually skip it anyway, so so this might be controversial, but like a take just on the maps. But I know a lot of games do map packs that you pay for. Um, and I feel like, I mean, personally, me, I would be willing to pay for a map pack. I'm sure other people wouldn't. They would like it to be, a free update. But I mean, they could treat it like when you buy the Survivor, and I know you get the map for free, but you have to buy the Survivor and the Killer. But I don't know. I know that like Call of Duty does map packs. I'm trying to think who else does. There's probably a lot of other games that do the same. Was it Left 4 Dead had like map? Well, they had a whatchamacallit. Sorry, I'm like completely all over the place with this idea. They had a season pass that you could get. And I know that's not really this type of game, but I feel like that's something that they could look into by doing a survey. um, but I do agree that I think there should be some more like creativity, not creativity, but like different like variations, like you were saying, because sometimes just playing the one same map gets old, especially when it gets stuck in the queue and you just keep getting like Ormond over and over and over again. It gets exhausting.
I think
So
they did stuff to try to limit that, right? With an update with not getting the same map over and over.
Map prevention. I think that was
yeah,
this
Yeah.
last
I think
update.
I think so too. And I
Um,
noticed that we haven't been having that issue, which is good. Um, at least it seems like it. It seems like we've been getting more varied maps when we play, but when it was happening, it was getting kind of tiring.
well, something to speak of too. The other night, when I was playing, I kept getting RPD back to back. It was the different variations,
Hmm.
Mm.
but we were getting the same map back to back. And kind of as Mocking mentioned, when you have those realms that have, 5 maps of the same, you know, uh, if you keep getting those back to back, it can get very boring. It's a different variation, but it's essentially the same core map. Um, I think it's interesting to talk about maybe doing some type of DLC for maps.
Oh, there you go. I
Um,
couldn't think of the right
yeah,
word.
I think that's how I think they could do it. I'm not sure how that would work for people who don't have them. Like,
That's why I typically don't do it.
yeah,
Mm.
like if there was some type of offering or something you could bring in, I think it would just be good just have some type of base update and go back and add different variations of maps to the realms, or just brand new maps altogether in the realms. I feel like there's this thing going around where they're just reusing, and that can kind of get boring to not have some more variety. So I definitely agree with that. I like the idea of new intros. I know we have our beloved, like the beloved starter, characters that started it all, kind of thing. But I think bringing variety and showcasing other survivors and killers is a type of form of engagement. Because, like you mentioned, Morbid, like we just pass by it. No one's appreciating that. We're just clicking start and moving forward. Whereas maybe if there was something new, you didn't know which one would be on there. You might, want to stay engaged and look and see what it is, and maybe be introduced to, Survivor you didn't think of maybe you wanted to play. It'd be nice to highlight new survivors. I definitely agree with that. Or new killers. Any other thoughts around other types of like non-chapter updates that could be done? Throw that out to anyone.
I
No.
don't
No.
think so. Because I mean, they, like the cosmetics, they don't really release as a chapter update. They just come out. So, I mean, cosmetics would be like the only other thing that I could think of, but I feel like we get those pretty regularly.
Yeah. And they did cosmetic packs
Yeah.
way long time
Oh,
ago. There are
yeah.
some you can get. They don't really do
That's
that
when,
anymore, but
yeah, when Stranger Things was still there, I remember when I first bought that, there was like a pack for that.
I think sometimes if you buy the chapter off Steam, you might get additional cosmetics sometimes or different color variations, but I think that's kind of it. They haven't really done like a cosmetic pack in a long, long time.
Should be interesting if they did do something like that. Cosmetic packs. I know they do release them. I know that they do release cosmetics regularly, but maybe for special edition stuff. Or having something where they do like a community again survey to create something. And maybe those special creations for cosmetics can be put into some type of DLC if they're not added in the game as well. And let's see, let's kind of move on. Something that we all really want to see is killer and survivor dailies.
Yes.
Separate them.
Just do 2 tracks. That's all we need is 3 dailies, 2 tracks.
Exactly.
Killer line and the survivor line. Because I can't tell you how many times I've closed the game. I'm like, I just have killer dailies. I don't want to play killer right now.
Yeah.
Especially for those who maybe you main killer or survivor and you want to get in, and it can be very frustrating when you have all survivor dailies if you're a killer or all killer dailies if you're a survivor. Having the 2 tracks I think would help, and it might motivate people, especially with those extra blood points, to maybe try out killer or survivor if they don't normally play that. So I'm all here for that. I think that's something they should do now. I would like that right now. Thank you.
Yes. Especially because I haven't had one in well, I had one I think last week, but that was the first one I've had in months.
Yes.
They need to fix I don't know, like the coding or like the way it works to where it randomizes it, because I just can't get rid of them. And then they never show up after I do.
Confirmed.
I think we need to do an experiment. I thought about this the other day. Like, keep track of for a week our dailies and how many killer ones we get and how many survivor ones we get. Because I feel like I never get survivor dailies.
Confirmed.
It's
Yeah.
always killer dailies. And I don't know if that's a push to get people to play killer. Like, if the queues are just overall showing there's not enough killers in lobby. But I feel like it's been like this forever, though. Like, it's always been killer dailies constantly. Like, I have 3 killer dailies right now.
Yeah, same. When we logged on earlier, I deleted one and got another one.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that I went a month and a half without, because I was tracking it.
Okay, you've done this. Your results,
without, please. Yes, without getting. Of course, I wasn't on every day, but every time I got on for like a month and a half, I didn't have any Survivor dailies. And a lot of times I would just log back off, or I was going into like old tomes to get some extra blood points. Um, but I didn't think that maybe they could be doing that to have people play killer. But some people, we don't want to play killer. We want to, play survivor. It can be pretty discouraging the moment you log into game and that's all it is just queued up killer dailies, or vice versa. If you're a killer, just queued up, survivor dailies when you don't want to do them.
Well, and I do play killer, and the thing is, I don't
Yes.
play all killers. Like, I'm not blinking 4 times with nurse and hitting someone. Okay, I am not a nurse player. I suck as nurse. Like, there's some killers I'm just like, I'm not gonna play that killer. I'm not. It's like chainsaw people with hillbilly. Like, that's not happening either. So like, sometimes you just also get killer dailies for killers you're not going to play.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, and I don't know if they should come up with some killer dailies that are more, because Survivor has some dailies that are like repair 3 gens, right? Heal 3 people, or do co-op action for this long. Like killer, I don't think there's any killer dailies where it's like kick 5 gens, knock down 3 survivors in 1 match, something like that. Like there's none of that for killers. So then that would give you the possibility to play whichever killer you like and just get some easy blood points, right? I'm gonna play my favorite killer. I'm gonna kick 5 gens, easy.
Honestly, I would be more motivated to try killer if I saw something like that.
Yeah.
Because as somebody who doesn't play killer, rarely, only maybe like PTBs or kill your friends matches, if I was able to go for the killers that I am comfortable with, that I know a little more about, and it was like an overarching daily to hook so many survivors, or like you said, kick so many gens, I think I'd be more motivated to actually try and play killer. That's a good one.
Yeah, same.
I think something that Morbid, you mentioned you wanted to talk about was Prime Gaming.
Oh yeah, well, because I was thinking about the non-chapter updates. I do appreciate that they gave us a Rift Pass this last one for the Prime Gaming. I mean, some of the cosmetics have been great, but I was just thinking of like other things that they could add on. Maybe, well, that probably wouldn't work. I was like, maybe they could do a map, but I don't think that would be easy to do. But yeah, I feel like they've been trying to do some other things. And maybe they do like Twitch drops or something like that. I don't know. I just thought of the Prime Gaming thing for add-ons or updates that they could throw out that were not necessarily, chapter related. And maybe they could utilize that for some perk that they give people who are subscribed to that.
I do like your Twitch drop idea. And I'm
Yes,
surprised
yeah.
they don't do that now that I think about it, because I know one of the past like cosmetic packs you can get was like for different streamers. Like like why don't they give their Fog Whisperers like a custom cosmetic, like a shirt, right? And be like, well, if you're in this streamer's, stream for like, and you get like their special shirt, right? And then you could be wearing like your favorite streamer's shirt in a match, That's
Yeah, especially because I feel like obviously a lot of people stream DBD, and I'm thinking of other games that have done Twitch drops, and I'm like, wait, DVDs, I don't think they've ever done that, or they haven't done it in a long time. And yeah, so I don't know why it's not something they utilize.
I don't think they've ever done it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I have like 5 tabs open right now where I'm cycling through certain Twitch drops for games. That would be interesting because when you have those drops where there's the longer progression, it's like you watch an hour, then you watch 2 hours and 3 hours. That's a lot of community engagement. And I do that a lot. I'm on Twitch every single day. I would love DBD drops. And I think that would help with interesting cosmetics um, as well. It would help, give a little more spotlight to the frog whispers because I'm finding new
Yeah, for
frog
sure.
whispers all the time. I kind of stick to my main people that I watch that I really enjoy watching, but sometimes you come across frog whispers that maybe don't have as much as a platform,
Mhm.
but they're fun to watch. And that would be great for community engagement. I like that. Twitch drops. DVD. Give us some drops.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That's a good one. Um, Something else that we've talked about a lot to transition over is different game modes. Um, I know personally, I would like hide and seek.
Yes.
Um, we have played our own version of hide and seek with our own rules when doing custom matches. It's just fun.
Find your
It
favorite
there's
bush.
yes, find your favorite bush and
Mhm.
hide. Find your favorite locker and hide. Um, it's a great way, like when you have those really bad matches, to kind of de-stress and get in and just have a fun time. So I'm personally all about a hide and seek mode. Um, but I know we had some other ones. Mocking, you brought up some other modes that you'd like in there.
Oh, perk roulette, which people already do perk roulette, so I don't feel like this would be a hard one to put in the game. Like there are already websites that do
Hmm.
this for you, but basically you get assigned 4 random perks, and same for the killer and the survivors. And so you just don't know what you're going to get. And I think also with these fun modes, it would be good if they gave like extra blood points to play
Hmm.
them because you're not doing the core gameplay, right? These are more fun.
Hmm.
And like, you don't want to feel like you're punished in perk roulette either. Like, if you get no mither, like, whatever, like, it is what it is, right? Um, so you get more bullet points, right? Like, it's just some more fun mode to, and also maybe to challenge yourself too as a player. I
Hmm.
mean, I guess you could
Hmm.
look at it also as a challenge to be like, I'm not going to run the perks I usually run, right? So kind of get you out of your comfort zone too.
I I agree. For perk roulette, man, I really can't speak today, guys. For perk roulette, I think I would definitely want it to be where you didn't know until you logged into the game. Because I am that
Ooh.
person. When I do perk roulette, I'm just rolling until I get something I think I can do.
Oh, you cheat.
You
I
got,
don't
you
do
got to, I,
that.
I totally cheat. You got to take that option away from me. So it would really be like, and maybe even randomizing what you're bringing in, or
Yeah, I think,
pallors or add-ons.
yeah, you just need to go into perk roulette and ready up, and you don't know what you're getting until you load in.
Yes.
Like, you just don't
Yeah.
Yeah.
know. You load in and you're like, great. Or, yay, I got hit on.
You're like, yes, no mither, and self-care. Love
Inner
this for me.
healing, yeah.
Morbid, what about would you want like something like hide and seek or percolate in the game?
Yeah, definitely. I think other game modes would definitely add um, kind of a new feel to it, and sometimes playing like especially solo queue can get
Hmm.
daunting and exhausting, and sometimes it's not that fun. So I feel like if you did like a prop hunt, I know that one was mentioned, or we had
Hmm.
talked about that one, and even perk roulette and like hide and seek, like I feel like it would be fun with random people because you have no idea what's going to happen.
Hmm.
And I when I played Call of Duty, they had capture the flag. Well, I played Call of Duty Black Ops 2, I think. They had a capture the flag mode. They had like one where you could basically you had a base that you had to protect, and if someone
Hmm.
got into the base, you'd lose it and you'd have to go get the other one. And I mean, even like a capture the flag would be kind of fun. Um, yeah, I think it would be interesting to see them add a game mode to the play style.
I agree. Maki, you brought up a secret objectives game mode. What's that? What's your idea
So
behind that?
basically, they have side objectives. And I kind of got this idea from some of the charity streams they've done. I think with
Hmm.
Light in the Fog, they did this where they would give um, the survivors like a side objective. Like you have one I've seen is like you have to get this certain person out. Doesn't matter if everyone else dies. You gotta get this survivor out. Or you have to open both exit gates. Just stuff like that. It doesn't have to be something super hard, but like just to give you another goal than the same gameplay loop of do the gens, run the killer, open the exit gate, like kind of, and like you could get like extra blood points if you do the secret objective. Or it
I
could be
like
its own
that.
mode, so you can still try to get out, but like
Yeah.
you know, if your objective is like, you know, you need to sabo so many hooks, or you know, so just so it's just not, it's just different, because they haven't added any other like gameplay element in a while. This has been talked about. This kind of side topic that we didn't talk about, but it's been talked about how there hasn't been a new gameplay mechanic since in-game collapse came out. And they had talked about trying to put something for beginning of the game start, and they ditched it. Apparently Behavior ditched it. They couldn't get it to work, whatever their idea was. So secret objectives is just another thing to just give life to the game. Just do something different, make it more interactive. Like if you knew you had to only get like morbid out, like think of how much we'd like be throwing ourselves at the killer. You know, it would change the game. You're like, your mission is not just get out. It's we have to get this person out. We have to like protect this person. Like I think stuff like that would be fun. Or or having to do certain gens. I don't know. I mean, there's a million different ones.
Certain gens.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
Like if they have different color gens or something, maybe like you have to do the red gens, not the green gens or something. They could color them different.
Gen. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
And we kind of do this like when we're trying to do our own objectives and stuff. We kind of do that. We're like, okay, everyone else, we can all die. We got to get mocking out.
Yeah, this is like with the rifts and
But
the
this would be,
dailies and stuff. Like, yeah, this would be like an objective you wouldn't know until you got in the map. Like kind of like
would be really cool.
Perk roulette. Like you're not gonna know what the objective is until you get in. It's gonna be like, oh, this is what we gotta do. And I mean, killers could have hidden objectives too. To like maybe like they can't break any pallets or can't break any walls, or maybe they have to kick every gen that has progress. I don't know, just something different.
It definitely would add a different layer because Survivor side, it's boring. Just sit on gens.
Skill check simulator.
Yes, skill check simulator. But that'd be interesting, especially if they were team sided. Like as a team, you need to get this done. And I even like with killers because it could be kick so many things or break so many pallets. It will change the gameplay, which would make things interesting. So I definitely agree with that. Something you started to go into was gameplay mechanics, which we do have on here as. No, you're fine.
Jump ahead.
Great transition. So, gameplay mechanics. Something that you had mentioned was exit gate regression.
Yes.
And I'm assuming that's a gameplay mechanic because that's where I put it in the outline.
Yeah. No more 99ing the exit gate.
Yeah.
Like you could 99 it, but it's gonna lose progress over time. And it doesn't have to be like a lot of progress. I'm not saying like it goes to 0 in like 15 seconds, but since they put in game collapse, this is like the strat is to 99 the exit gate, right? Because of Blood Warden, and then they, survivors 99 it, and then you go get the end game or last minute, unhook, and someone open, you just tap the gate and it opens. Like, what if you couldn't just tap the gates? Like, just to add, just to kind of change it up, because we've been 99 the gate for a while. Like I said, in the other section, I jumped ahead about gameplay mechanics, and like the in-game collapse is like the last time they've changed the actual
Mhm.
gameplay of, because it used to be there was no in-game collapse, and
Mhm.
the game would just go on until the survivors left. Like
Oh
the gates
wow.
could be
Wow.
open forever.
Oh god.
So as killer,
That must have
it could be
been
annoying if
a
the
Uh-uh.
lot.
survivors didn't
Yeah.
leave, right? Like it'd be like taking the game hostage. So the survivors, no, the killer can find people, or they,
Mhm.
they had an unlimited amount of time to get out. So, I like in-game
Yeah.
collapse. So
Mhm.
this kind of goes along with that, where you can't just 99 the gate. You've either got to open it all the way, or if you do leave it at 99, you're going to know it's going to not be ready.
Which makes sense. Um, I kind of like that because it adds that level of less security for survivors, and for killers, there's that extra chance kind of at the end to maybe get a final down or kill. Um, I'd be wondering, like, I think it would have, like, the timer would have to start once it reached 99. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just to put in there, when you are, for example, you had your solo escape after we all died, you were able to get out. But something like that, if you were the last one there, because there is the technique to open the door just a little bit before the
Mm-hmm.
lights come on, right?
Yeah.
I think it would have to start, the regression would have to start at a certain time, like maybe like once the door got to 50
I think it
or
should be when you let
60.
go of it.
When you let go, oh,
Mm-hmm.
really?
Ooh, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's what I
Whenever
thought
Ooh,
you
you,
meant.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like when you get off of it, like maybe it doesn't regress for like 5 seconds, but then yeah, like whenever you let
yeah,
go of it, there can be like a little buff of like, it'll be like 5 or 10 seconds before it starts regressing.
interesting.
Yeah, but I think once you get off of
Interesting.
it, if you get pushed, so if you get pushed off the exit gate, it's gonna start, like you're
They're
trying to
going,
open and the
yeah.
killer comes, yeah, it'll start regressing. So it's not gonna be
Everyone's
at
gonna,
that
yeah.
50% or 60% like you left it.
We're definitely gonna see more people running perks to help with the exit gates
Right.
Wake up,
if something like that did happen. Which
resilience.
which is yeah,
There you
which is
go.
encouraging people to do new perks, get rid of metas. Um, that's definitely interesting. Did you have any thoughts on the exit gate regression, Ruben?
Um, no, that's what I said, that was kind of what I thought mocking event was like. As soon as you let go of it, kind of like ruin, it starts to regress. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think it would be an interesting thing that they added. I mean, it would probably not be popular, I feel like. But yeah, I do think it would be a cool thing to add into the game to, I don't know, add that little extra like fear factor at the end. You're like, oh, I can't leave the
Mhm.
gate. Like you have to pick, like, am I gonna run or open the gate?
Am I gonna stick it? Hey, that goes back to what we're starting about. How can we make it scarier?
Exactly.
That would
Es-
scare me.
Especially if you're like a nervous person, you're just, oh no, no,
Mhm.
no, what do I do? What do I do? Yeah, because that would totally be me.
You open that gate and get hit with bloodborne. That's what
Mm,
Yes.
yeah,
what
so that
happens.
might not be a good, I think, good thing.
You just gotta wait it out, bob and weave,
Yeah,
hide.
you do all that work. I could not imagine.
Oh, no, I kind of like that. Something else we had talked about is new items. Does anyone have any ideas of new items that they would like in the game? Well, I'm
Hmm.
assuming we're talking more about Survivor.
Yes. Well, I don't know what the item would be. I had a thought that survivors should be able to break a breakable wall. So whether that's
Ooh.
like a
Oh.
hammer or something, I don't know what the item should be, but I was just trying to think like killers can break walls. And killers can choose not to break walls. Like it depends on the RNG and where stuff spawns. So
Hmm.
having an item that would let you like take out a breakable wall so
That
that
could
you can
totally
open
Yeah, that's
an
change the
interesting.
area,
game.
like especially like maps like, let me say, like Dead Dog, the game,
Yep. Hmm.
like where you don't want to be trapped in an area.
And they can definitely make it to where it does like an auditory and like a visual thing.
Hmm.
Like if you break or if you throw a pallet, you get the
Oh,
the
the notification.
auditory notification. So like they could do that too. And then you could have add-ons to where it doesn't, you know? I think that would actually be really cool. I never thought of that.
I would definitely make gameplay more interesting. I automatically thought about Dead Dog, how at the very bottom of the stairs, kind of where sometimes basement spawns, there is that door that no one breaks. Because if you break it, you kind of have an infinite loop
Mm-hmm.
there to go up, around, down, through window. Um, so most killers don't break that. That'd be really interesting. That would totally change how a killer's playing a game if survivors were able to impact the environment like that. Um, I kind of like that idea. I wonder if maybe it'd be like maybe a more rare add-on or something, but that would definitely be unique.
I don't think it's
Um,
too overpowered either
yeah.
because not all maps have a breakable wall at the moment
Mhm.
too.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, once I'm not saying you could break like every breakable wall. Like maybe you break one, maybe there's an add-on for two, and so it's not like OP. Because I mean, and you think about it, you're bringing that in instead of bringing a toolbox, a med kit.
Yeah.
So
Limited uses, I would agree. I know some people have talked about bringing other items in that would stun the killer, like a weapon or something, to get like a free stun in. Um, I would agree that something like that would be limited use as well.
give survivors a
Um,
knife.
yeah, for real.
Let's bring DS back.
Just something. Just one time use, get that last minute stun item. Once it's gone, it's gone. Um, I'm not sure what other new items we could bring in. Morbid, do you have any items that you can think of?
Uh, no, because everything that I thought of is already pretty much in there. Like they do the ones for like the anniversary and the holidays. They do like the firecrackers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they can be fun. Um, but I don't know what else they could add other than what you were saying about like maybe like, maybe not an axe, but like something to take down the wall. Maybe like maybe like a serum or something that like gives you, I don't know, like a boost or something, or maybe like takes away um like your footsteps for a while, maybe
Hmm.
Hmm.
something like that. That's the only thing I can think of.
During one of the anniversary events, they had the blight serum, but you had to add it
Mm-hmm.
onto like a med kit, I think,
Mm-hmm.
where if
Mm,
you used it, you got like a speed
A
boost. So,
speed
but it
boost.
would be interesting to just have just the serum,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
like
to where like
not
you
attached to the
use
med
it.
kit.
Yeah, you just use it once and it's gone, or maybe you get two uses out of it, maybe. Because it's the same thing. You bring that instead of the med kit, and then you're kind of like, oh, I don't have anything else now.
That would be interesting. I have tons of those. I collected them. So I still have a good bunch of the serums. And they're nice to get
Yeah,
that little last
they were
minute
cool.
getaway.
Yeah. Killers had them
Um,
too, though. That was fun.
hmm
Killers had the
hmm
serum too, so after they
Yes,
hooked someone, they could like go really fast. I think
going
was
all
how
over
it
the
worked.
place.
They got like
I
a
think that would
zoom.
be interesting. Status effects, kind of add-ons would definitely change up gameplay.
Hmm.
I like that. Something else we talked about too is being able to trade out items you don't use. I'll tell you what, I have hundreds of flashlights. I'm not going to use any of them. Um,
Same.
I would love to be able to trade out those ones that aren't being used or the ones that don't really have uses because of updates or something. To either get rid of them and trade them out, or there be some type of shop, or even trade with friends.
Oh, there you go.
Because right now we will do like, hey, I need a flashlight. Well, hey, we'll trade you out for a med kit, and you
Mm-hmm.
kind of do it in the game. But if there was some mechanic to be able to do that um, within kind of like that starting screen or blood point screen, that'd be interesting. I don't know what you guys think about that. Um,
It would be
Uh,
nice if
mhm,
they had like a
yeah,
marketplace or something, somewhere you could
mhm.
like recycle and get something back.
yeah. Whether they be like blood points or shards. Well, maybe not shards, but
Yeah,
Something.
I would get rid of some of them for bullet points. I
Mm-hmm.
I would
mean,
too.
they do that with the shrine. You get perks for
Mm-hmm.
shards. Like,
Hmm.
give up your items for blood points.
Which I think you can do in the mobile game, if I'm correct.
I think they have a
Don't they have?
marketplace or
Mm-hmm.
I
Have a
something.
think they have a
marketplace.
place where you can swap
Mm-hmm.
things out, and but that brings up like a whole new discussion of the things mobile gets that
That we
That
don't. I don't
we
know
we
why.
don't.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't,
But
yeah. I don't think
that's another episode.
I don't know. Maybe we need to go play mobile. We haven't played mobile.
I
I
just
played the one time it came out, and that was
Well,
it.
they've updated it since then. So
haven't been very interested to play mobile. I'm like,
I
why am I gonna play on my phone or a tinier screen when I can
that's
play on
BS.
my very expensive gaming computer
With
Exactly.
a big monitor.
With all
with
my
my
monitors,
with
yeah.
all my monitors? Um, no, I think being able to trade out items would be nice. Um, Another thing that I want, which I know is probably not possible, is we kind of mentioned this before, we've talked about it, is having some type of survivor power. Because right now all their survivors are just shells, right? And you can put on whatever perks you want. You can carry over your perks no matter who you're playing. Um, but I think it'd be interesting to have the survivors actually have some type of power mechanic. And I have examples.
Ooh.
Let me go to my notes here.
She's gonna sell us on this, Morgan.
Okay.
She's
I'm
gonna sell
gonna
us on
Okay, I'm
try.
excited.
I'm gonna try. Okay. Ooh, this might be a tough panel. Let's see.
Put on your serious face, Morbid.
Yes.
Don't let
Okay.
don't smile.
So, right. So my idea is I think that whatever the power is does have to coincide with the killer. That's not killers. Oh my gosh, my mind's just really all over the place.
Fail, you're out.
I know I'm failing so hard right now.
If this was Shark Tank, I would pass.
I was just thinking about Shark Tank.
Oh, don't say that. Oh my God. Okay, okay. I'm gonna be like, can I try again? I'm gonna try again.
Yes, yes. Go ahead.
I think that whatever the power is, it has to coincide with the survivors. I got it right that time. The survivors' story, what makes sense for them, and their perks to encourage you to use those survivor perks. So I have some examples. We have our beloved Meg, right? Meg's an athlete, she's a runner. Something that
Oh,
never made sense to me is how she gets exhausted just like everybody else. I think that Meg should be able to recover from exhaustion quicker because she's a runner. She trains for that. Um, I have other ones. I have other ones. Let me continue. My beloved Michaela. So all her perks are the boons, right? It never made sense to me that her clairvoyant didn't help you find totems. Her her perk is all boons. I think that her power would be being able to find totems in a not radius in a small radius around her. And it can be tiny. Um, but I think she should be able to find totems. Our lovely Claudette, right? She's a healer. Um, it would be cool if her power was to have like a first aid kit or something, which would make sense. And she could one time use a heal on another survivor, not herself, to heal a health state. One time use. Jake, our survivalist. That's a word, right? I don't know.
mm-hmm. Survivalist.
Yes. Um, right. He's supposed to be able to survive out in the woods. I think he should be able to set a one-time trap for the killer.
Okay.
And Victorio, right? Our lovely Victorio that we all
Mm.
love. All
Yes.
his perks are gin related. Every single one of them. So at the start of the map, maybe all the gens can be revealed to him, or he can see gens within a certain radius. And it can be small. And these can be like, I don't think it's fair, for example, for Meg to be able to just recover from exhaustion the whole game quicker, but maybe have like a token system or one time use. But having some type of quote unquote power that would affect, what you're bringing in, the perks wise, but it would also change the gameplay. And you'd have to be strategic, kind of like killers are with their powers and the perks that they bring in to help amplify whatever their natural power is. So, thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Right. Okay.
I'm going to
Thank
pass it
you.
out to the audience.
Thank you for coming on Shark Tank.
Yes.
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 Okay, Morbid, you go first.
I
Yes.
feel like we should make a deal.
What's the
Let's see.
terms?
I think that I'm impressed that you had like notes and everything. This is great. Okay. I like that concept. I like that, because yes, we do have some perks like that. Like Michaela has
Mhm.
her one that you can see the next totem, I believe.
No, you can't see the totem.
No.
You
Oh no, you can see the
You,
like
s- you see
chest,
I've
chest.
never
hatch.
run this perk. Okay, I
Yeah,
don't know.
clairvoyance. Yeah, you can
Clairvoyant.
see chest and
Right.
hatches.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. I swear I haven't been drinking.
Yet. Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I don't know what I'm talking about, clearly. But no, I do. I like the concept that, everyone has like their own unique thing that isn't just a perk, that they can bring to the table. And especially where it's tied to the lore and it's not just something like anyone can have a med kit or a toolbox. This is like
Mhm.
specific to your, I almost said killer, to your survivor. And I like that concept. I think that would be kind of cool. How about
Mocking.
you, Mocking?
I like the idea, but I have some buts.
I know.
I feel like it might be like too late in the game for
Mhm.
them to put it in. Lots of other
Mm,
games do stuff like that. Like you
Mhm.
play a certain character, you get a buff doing this or that. And so, I mean, though we did talk about non-chapter updates, they could do this as a
Mhm.
non-chapter update. But
mhm.
I just googled it. There's 36 survivors. It's kind
Oh
of the
wow.
other
Yeah.
issue is that
Oops.
we're now to a point of like there are so many survivors, right? Because some chapters come out with two survivors, right?
Mhm.
Or the last
Yeah,
one
yeah.
did. Resident Evil was two survivors. Stranger Things was two. So I believe it. There's more survivors than killers. But I mean, I like the idea. I wish they would have thought about this when they started
Mhm.
the game because you're right. They
Yeah.
are shells. Right now they're just cosmetics, right? And having a little boost as long as it's not too overpowered. Because what I would fear is if they didn't do it right. Like I like your
Mhm.
ideas, but this is behavior. We have to remember this is
Mhm.
behavior. And love you behavior. I love your game, but sometimes some decisions have been questionable. You know, you trying to like kill hillbilly. But anyway, like if they didn't do it right, like certain characters would get tunneled out. Like if a killer's like, I don't want to deal with this buff on
Mm,
Dwight,
Mhm.
or Meg. I don't want to keep chasing Meg the whole match. Like that character would get tunneled out. Or this is the other thought. Depending on what the buffs are, if people played all that character, like you had 4 Dwights, you had 4 Michaelas.
oh
Mhm.
boy.
Like what would it be like for a killer to go against like a full team? Because what if they? We can talk about balance issues in another episode, but
Mhm.
like you know, they have trouble balancing their perks. I fear they wouldn't be able to balance the power.
Mhm.
Like if they gave one survivor an OP power or it was powerful against a certain killer, they would get tunneled. Or you get like these whole survivor sweat squads running just this one character. You got the toxic Neas are there. And you got 4 Neas with flashlights.
My idea for Naya is she just goes completely invisible the whole match.
Yeah.
She's Wraith.
Yeah.
She just disappears.
You only know where she is by the clicking of her flashlight.
Because she's urban evading around the
Yeah.
map.
She's evading. No, and I agree that there needs to be some type of balance. That's why I think that some of these would be one-time use, or maybe they're connected to where you only get this buff if you play this specific perk. Which, for example, my beloved Michaela and her clairvoyance,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Hmm.
I don't understand why her whole build is totems and she can't find them. It doesn't make sense to me. Um, and it is true that I wish they would have done something more at the beginning, but it doesn't mean they can't roll it out like going forward and then go backwards. Maybe trying it with a new survivor that's coming out to see if it is even compatible with how they want the game played or how the game will be played. Um, but it's true, like you wouldn't want a whole bully squad of Megs just speeding around the place. Um, but at the same time, if you limit it, if you do some type of token system, or if you reward people, for example, we have David. David's a fighter. It never made sense to me that he can go down so easily. I almost feel like David should have some type of built-in dead hard, but I think that in order for it to work, he does have to play very risky, which is what his whole build is.
Mm-hmm.
Is it's a risky build. So I think that's where the balance would come in. Like you want to be able to use this, then you need to play risky. You want to be able to use this, you need to play altruistic. There could be stipulations in there. No crazy stipulations, but um, if they're easily met, I think it's a whole different mechanic
Mm-hmm.
to the gameplay, and it would encourage using new perks because you'd want to synergize your perks with whatever that buff is to make full use of that character. And I think they might be surprised if they did something like that. And they might see a transition from the normal characters that everyone plays, because mostly because they have tons of cosmetics, to other characters that if they give certain buffs, that you might see those characters being played more as well. So that's my thoughts.
Another idea is you
Um,
could do the power on a timer.
mhm,
Like Meg can only recover from exhaustion faster. I don't know, like every 4 minutes or something. Like,
mhm,
Mhm.
because I mean, there are perks like killer perks have timers. Like you can't
mhm,
use it all this. A lot of the perks are you can't use it back to back. It's they have a
Yeah.
timer. Like you can't use this perk again for another minute.
mhm.
So
Which makes
how do you
sense.
work it?
I think there, yeah, I think there should be limitations, but I think it would definitely diversify matches. Um, and I don't think if you have something on a timer, if you had a whole squad of, you know, Megs, that would be different. It wouldn't be everyone be able to use their quote unquote power all at the same time. For Dwight, my Dwight idea is different. Dwight's a leader, but he can only see other people and no one can see him. So if there is a full squad of just Dwights, they would just be able to see each other. Like I think Dwight should be able to motion like here I am as like a reset, whether it's like have the maps that have like the beams on them, where I think Dwight should be able to let people know where he is because he's a leader. He's supposed to organize stuff. Um, that'd be interesting. You just have a whole game of Dwights and they're just telling each other where the other is.
So it'd be
So.
interesting because you basically have a meta for every character, though,
Mhm.
right? Every character
Mhm.
basically have their own meta, which I don't know. It might work. Then maybe DVD would stop trying to mess around with the meta so
Mhm.
much.
Yeah.
It would definitely encourage playing the game from different angles if they were trying to help boost whatever that survivor power is. If not, then they can just treat it like a shell, and just like a killer, if you don't bring perks in that work well with that killer, you might you're not utilizing the killer the best you can. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We had a match uh, a little while ago with the Freddy. Was not using perks to help him as a Freddy at all.
Mhm.
Um,
Mm-mm.
and we were able to all get out. And that's something
Yes,
you had
that
mentioned,
match.
Mocking, was yeah, he wasn't
It was. We had our epic
yeah.
escape.
Yes, it was amazing. Um, but I think it would be good for player engagement, change some of the mechanics. If they again, I agree, if they can find a way to keep it balanced. But I think that would inherently slowly start to break down the meta if people are then trying to do certain kind of you said meta builds for specific survivors. It would change everything up. You wouldn't have everybody running the same perks in every match because they would be trying to customize it for the certain survivor they're bringing in. I don't know if anyone has any final thoughts. Christine said that she did buy into my idea. It's $1 million buy-in. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think behavior
I'm
needs to contact
excited.
you.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm excited to
behavior.
work together.
Please message me on Discord.
She already has done half the work. You just need
I
to
know.
Right?
implement it.
She had the
I'd also like to
idea.
say I have a background in quality assurance, so I know what I'm talking about.
I
Well, you
also
did
think.
mention.
Oh, God.
Oh, sorry. I was saying you did mention how how would they implement it? I mean, they
Mhm.
did manage to rework most of the characters' looks. They could totally add something like that in. At least I think so. But
Well, they
I
did
don't work
their.
behavior, so.
Yeah.
They also did their big meta change up. Was that 2 years
Mhm.
ago? It was a
Mhm.
couple
I think
anniversary
so.
goes. Like, that was a big deal. They changed like 40 perks. Like, we got
Yeah.
36 survivors.
Mhm.
I mean, they should just do it and throw it in a PTB.
Yeah,
It
I
can't
agree.
it can't go any worse than the last PTB. So
And it can be a slow rollout. Again, choosing whether it's like a new chapter or something comes out and playing it there just to see if it works.
well, they could do a
Um,
PTB with certain characters.
yes.
Like,
Mhm.
here's 5 survivors.
Yeah.
You have to play these and try it out.
And that could go back to what we talked about is having non-chapter updates, having those non-chapter PTBs. The more stuff they try to bring out, and I understand that with every business you have to have the bandwidth, you have to have the employees to do stuff, but the more content that they're able to release, and the more stuff that they're able to throw at us to test, that's just more engagement within the community, which will help in general, and make us as
Mhm.
players feel more involved and feel like we have more of a say in what's happening, but just also help the game to be healthier and thrive more. Um, because if we're engaged and we're having fun, we're gonna have less things to complain about.
Exactly.
And we're gonna want to promote the game more and have people play with us.
And it
So
also shows
yeah,
that they're listening. Like I
confirmed.
know
Yes.
sometimes, you put things in the survey, and I know you're one person, but I'm sure other people have the same thoughts.
Hmm.
And if they don't take your thoughts and at least try them or implement them or say, hey, like we're going to add this because it was highly requested. Like I like it when a game I'm playing takes what I want into consideration and is like, hey, we are going to do this because we
Hmm.
think it's cool and that's what you guys want, instead of saying, hey, we're going to kill these perks, but no one asked for it.
Hmm. I agree. Mocking, did you have any final thoughts?
Well, kind of going along with that,
Hmm.
maybe with the how the last couple chapters were received, um, will encourage behavior to maybe not keep on this schedule. They have this schedule of a
Hmm.
chapter release, right, every 3
Hmm.
months. And I've heard other people in the community say they would like them to get away from this because they have so many characters. They
Hmm.
have so many perks. It's like, how much more can you come up with, right? How
Hmm.
many different perks? What other ideas can you come up with? And they could just maybe only do 2 chapters, like the traditional Killer Survivor chapters a year. And then the other 2 chapters could be, you know, health updates to the game,
Hmm.
Hmm.
maps, like everything we talked about, right? Doing the maps, do the survivor powers, just work on the game health because I think
Hmm.
that is what's lacking. It's not,
Yeah,
I
for
know
sure.
they have, like Queen said, like their business, they gotta make money. And I really wonder if they made that much money off Skull Merchant. Like, honestly.
Mm-mm.
Like, how many people
Yeah,
actually bought her or bought her with shards?
I'd
Like,
be interested to see that breakdown.
because I think Knight, even though people don't like the Knight now, I think he was better received because the
Hmm.
aesthetic was there, the medieval.
Hmm.
A lot
For
of people
sure.
wanted that.
And the
So
lore was
yeah,
there.
the lore. You had Victoria, you had the Knight,
His
and
Maury was
the
better.
Mori was
Ooh,
awesome.
that's an
Like,
amazing Mori. Yeah.
so I don't know. I'm kind of hoping if Skull Merchant didn't sell very well, that they might think about, we really need to think about what we're doing with our game, and um, should we still be coming out with 4 chapters a year? I mean, it's a lot,
Mhm.
and it's a lot of characters and a lot of perks and add-ons. Because each killer has a ton of add-ons as well. There's a lot to
Hmm.
think up. So that's basically it. Maybe they will
No, yeah.
work on more maps, more game modes. I think game modes would really spice things up and
Hmm.
get people to come
Mhm.
back. I think they need to do something to get people to come back, because a lot of what I see on Twitter and on YouTube is that the game is stale right now. It's
Hmm.
very stale. No one likes Skull Merchant. I mean, there's a few people that really love her, but overall, like, I'm not seeing like a ton of YouTube videos on the Skull Merchant, right?
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Like,
same.
um, so they need to do something, and maybe they'll announce something at the anniversary that's coming up, that they are going to revamp the game in some way, not just a chapter, but some new game mode, some new maps. They needed maybe maybe a new item. Like, they need to change the gameplay up in some way to make it more exciting.
No, I agree. And then the new game modes, everything we're kind of talking about. For example, player engagement, being able to play with, your fog whispers that you like. I think having the game modes can help with that, because a lot of people will just play Survivor and Killer, and sometimes they'll have community things where they'll bring in, their community. But to have something like hide and seek where it's just fun, you get to play with your favorite fog whisper or something like that while you're getting Twitch drops.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that
Um,
would be cool.
would help. I also agree with the updates. I'd rather have quality over quantity. I feel like sometimes with too many updates, it's like you saturate the game with so much. And that's part of the reason why people aren't using lots of perks. They're going to stick to what they know, they're going to stick
Mhm.
to what they're comfortable with. When you have so many options, you're going to find something you like and you're going to stick with it. And then the game gets stale and boring because everyone's doing the same thing. If there were more quality updates with whether we're adding items or perks and they were all good, then that would naturally, I think, change up that meta and vary gameplay. Um, and so I completely agree. I think that would only kind of help the game in the long run, um, if they were to do something like that. See, they need to contact you as well.
Just
And
come
they
on
need to
the.
contact Mormon for the Twitch drops.
Oh
Right?
yeah, that was totally your idea. That was
That was
great.
great. Yes.
Thank you.
Um,
That is the way a lot of games are going though now. Like
mhm.
Hogwarts
Mhm.
Legacy just did Twitch drops,
They just
and
did, yeah.
Even World of Warcraft, what's been
Yep.
around forever, has started doing Twitch drops.
I think it's the new thing, I guess.
Yeah. It's like the new
So,
way to engage and
hmm
like give back to your community. And like you were saying, like if you're focusing so much on new content, you're not focusing on fixing old content.
Mhm.
So like maybe they do 2 chapter releases and 2 quality of game releases and
Mhm.
like kind of balance it out, because I do think that there needs to be some updates made, and like you said, just fixing things that have been there for a while that need fixing.
I agree. Give them the opportunity. All right, guys, let's do this. Let's kind of wrap this up. Any closing thoughts? We good?
do everything
No.
we say behavior.
Yes.
Yes,
Contact
listen
us,
to
please.
us. You don't know what
Uh,
we have, all of the thoughts, okay? And we want them to
yes.
get implemented.
Agreed. You can reach out to us, Gens Before Friends on YouTube, or
Mhm.
we're now on Spotify.
Yes.
Yay, we branched
So,
out.
yeah, Gens Before Friends on Spotify as well. So there's no excuse behavior to not reach out to us.
Exactly.
But I will
We're on
All
say,
multiple
right. Yeah.
platforms now.
yeah,
Hmm.
I will say we want these changes though, because we care about this game and we want it
Yes.
to
Yeah.
succeed. So I know, like, our last episode was kind of a lot of criticism, but it's because we love the game, and so we want
Mhm.
what's
Hmm.
best for it. So hopefully some of these ideas will get implemented.
And
Yeah.
this is all coming from constructive criticism too, with things that we think generally will make the game better. Because it's
Yeah.
one of the few games where we can all play together because our whole Swift do have a 5-man Swift or 5 lady Swift, and we all play, and it's one of the games we love to play
Hmm.
as a group.
We still come
Um,
back to it, even with all the issues.
yes, yeah, even with if we don't like something, we still come back to it. Um, so we definitely, it'd be nice to see the game grow in a positive direction when there's been so much negative talk in the community.
Hmm.
And I think behavior can do it. It's just the question is if it's something that the one they're capable of doing, or big one that they want to do it,
Yeah,
which I
exactly.
hope so. All right, guys. Well, we'll wrap this up. Thank you for listening. I hope everyone has a just amazing evening, afternoon, morning, whatever time it is where you are. And we'll look forward to chatting with you in the next episode. Bye, guys.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.